I always thought betrayal was something you saw in movies until I found a sticky note on our home computer that shattered my entire marriage. She thought I was too dumb to notice, too passive to fight back. But I had a plan, and when it hit, her boyfriend lost his job, his house, his family, and even his face got rearranged. This isn't just revenge. This is karma with receipts. If you've ever had someone lie to your face while destroying your trust behind your back, then buckle up. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for a brutal tale of betrayal, private investigators, and a revenge so cold it'll give you chills. This story takes place in the early 2000s, back when AOL was still a thing and Facebook didn't exist. My wife and I had two young kids, 4 and 6 at the time, and like a lot of young couples, we were juggling jobs, family, and the usual daily chaos. But something didn't feel right. At first, it was subtle, the kind of thing you try to dismiss as paranoia. My kids, sweet, innocent little chatterboxes, started talking about spending time at Grandma and Grandpa's during the day. And that wouldn't have been strange, except my wife's parents lived a solid 90-minute drive away. And suddenly my wife was taking them there 2 or 3 times a week, on the days she wasn't working her part-time job. That's a lot of driving for a simple visit. I asked her about it, casually, just curious. But she hesitated. Her answer didn't sound natural, and trust me, she was a terrible liar. The more I pressed, the shakier her story got. So I started watching, not her car. Each week, the odometer told a different story than her mouth did. 400 extra miles? That's not a minor oops. That's a deliberate weekly effort to hide something. And then fate, or maybe karma, handed me the first clue I needed. One afternoon, I sat down at our shared computer and saw a yellow sticky note stuck to the monitor. On it, her AOL password. Temptation doesn't even begin to describe what I felt. My hands were shaking, my stomach in knots. I didn't want to find anything, but I had to look. I logged in, and there it was. Email after email with her college best friend. Coded language, dirty jokes, references to secret meetups, and the worst part, her bragging about hooking up with one of her ex-boyfriends from high school. No remorse, no guilt, just mocking his wife, calling her fat after childbirth, like she was the superior woman for sneaking around. I printed every word. That night I stared at those pages and felt like my soul had been punched out of my body. But I wasn't about to fall apart. I called a friend, a cop. I didn't want gossip, I wanted facts. He put me in touch with a private investigator named Ron. Ex-law enforcement, sharp, quiet, deadly focused. I handed Ron the emails, gave him everything I knew. What days she said she was visiting her parents, the extra mileage, the tone in her voice. He said, "Give me 2 weeks." I gave him 4. What Ron came back with wasn't just a report, it was a bulletproof case. Photos, times, motels, receipts, surveillance shots of her dropping off the kids at her parents', driving straight to a rundown motel, and then leaving hours later with a different glow on her face. And always with the same man. Ron didn't stop there. He dug into the guy too. His name? Bob. Married. Father of 3. Worked as a vice president of sales at his father-in-law's company. That made my blood boil. Not just because of the affair, but because I knew what I had to do and who else deserved the truth. I hired a divorce lawyer. I'd lived through my own parents' ugly divorce, and I swore I'd never put my kids through that kind of emotional chaos. But this was a hard line in the sand. There was no coming back. But revenge? That was still on the table. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, 2 things happened at the same time. At 1:15 p.m., my wife got served divorce papers. At work. In front of her coworkers. At 1:17 p.m., Ron rang the doorbell at Bob's house with a thick manila envelope full of photos, timestamps, and every dirty little secret his wife had no idea about. Ron told me she cried. She also thanked him. What she did next? That was her call. But oh, did she deliver. Within a week, she cleaned out their joint account, took the kids, moved in with her parents, and when her dad, Bob's boss, found out, Bob was fired on the spot. Oh, and the house Bob lived in, owned by his in-laws, evicted. But it didn't stop there. When Bob showed up at the house, demanding answers, yelling, trying to shift blame, his ex-brother-in-law stepped in. With his fists, one broken nose, a restraining order, and multiple police reports later, Bob's life was in flames. He lost everything: job, family, reputation, freedom. Even his online footprint disappeared. Last I heard, he moved out of state, probably trying to escape the wreckage of what he used to be. As for his ex-wife, she stepped up, took a job at her father's company, took over after he retired. And my ex, we stayed cordial for the kids. That's it. Now that they're adults, I don't speak to her unless I absolutely have to. I don't hate her, I just feel nothing. Just like she felt when she looked me in the eye and lied, week after week. Some people think revenge is about rage, about striking back. But sometimes the best revenge is calculated, silent, patient. You don't scream, you don't threaten, you gather proof, and you let gravity do the rest, because cheaters think they're clever, until they fall into the hole they dug for someone else. If this story gave you goosebumps, smash that like button and drop a comment. What would you have done in this situation?